The first thought is that, I've talked about before how y'all don't like virtual idols yet ate up K-pop demon hunters in a previous thoughts video, but I noticed something else too. Y'all as K-pop stans talk about how English is more than Korean in songs, as a negative thing, but yet y'all ate up K-pop demon hunters with the songs mostly in English. I'm talking about the songs like Free, What It Takes, Golden, etc. Like, how can y'all say one thing but then eat up K-pop demon hunters music? It shows that y'all don't care about K-pop songs being a lot in English and less in Korean and say these things for attention. Also, how is the movie even K-pop Demon Hunters when most if not all of the lyrics for the songs by Hunter X and Saja Boys are in English? Like, I saw 2 of the songs that did have Korean lyrics, that is How It's Done and Golden has 4 Korean lines compared to the English, and How It's Done has 2 Korean lines and 2 half Korean lines compared to the English. As I've said before, K-pop is Korean pop, songs have to be sung in Korean to be considered K-pop, and the songs being mostly in English and all the music having more English than Korean feels like the Korean was a cameo in the English songs is funny. The group could be considered K-pop, but having little to no Korean in the music, does that even count as K-pop anymore? K-pop is Korean pop, and if the songs had a mix of Korean and English equally, or if the songs had 1 verse Korean and 1 verse English, then yes, that too would be considered K-pop if the Korean flowed as well as the English instead of here where all the songs combined are 99.9% English and 1% Korean. Does nobody care about K-pop needing to be Korean to be considered K-pop? Where are people talking about these things? Maybe I haven't found the right channels, but I see nobody talk about these things since all they're focused on are views, saying the same repeated nonsense and calling it harsh, brutal, cancelable opinions when they're nothing opinions, and they just don't care enough to talk about things that might actually be things to talk about. The next thought is that K-pop stans always be complaining about short songs, K-pop not being about the music anymore, minors and other such things, again, only directed towards the crybaby K-pop stan complainers and not the K-pop stans who have valid reasons to talk to say what they have to say, but why do they complain instead of trying to find enjoyment? Like, if you hate songs being short and that's making you hate K-pop for doing this more, for example, then why aren't you trying to find longer songs that will make you happy? If these things are making you enjoy K-pop less, then what's stopping you from bringing that enjoyment back, when there are a lot of songs releasing and K-pop artists existing? Why is it always complaints from you instead of trying to find enjoyment? Also, I've heard some people say, K-pop is losing its popularity, which I've seen for some time now, but I wanna say to that, is that, even if it is the case, should it matter to you to care? You as a K-pop stan should just focus on yourself as a K-pop stan and listen to what you want and enjoy listening to. Things like these shouldn't matter to you because popular or not, you must have been a K-pop stan who came into K-pop because of the music and not because it's popular, and so you started listening to K-pop, that if K-pop's popularity died down you'd leave, which in that case you'd come off as a, for the trend, stan, which is not a good look on you. The bottom line here is that, why are you not just finding enjoyment for yourself as a K-pop stan? Unless you're bringing up valid points of critique or showing genuine concern. You should stop complaining and fix things to make your enjoyment better if your complaints are affecting your enjoyment, because I see some K-pop stans complain and it feels more like, I as a K-pop stan need to change how I am as a K-pop stan and enjoy K-pop, and it doesn't come off as, K-pop does this to me, and so K-pop needs to change, but if you're gonna continue complaining like a little baby, then I suggest you just leave K-pop because your complaints are attention-seeking. Also, with the second point I mentioned with K-pop's popularity, stop worrying about things like that, because K-pop should be about enjoyment, and you should be finding what you enjoy within the K-pop space and listen to what music you prefer. Don't let K-pop possibly losing popularity bother you, because the music is still gonna exist and you're still gonna find good music in K-pop that you like. If you look at me as a K-pop stan, I joined K-pop because I discovered Twice's Cheer Up and then rejoined after discovering Twice's Likey or Red Velvet's Bad Boy and became a full-time K-pop stan. And then ended up going so deep down a rabbit hole of different groups and music that fits my tastes, including discovering other genres within the Korean music space as well that is not just K-pop, which was great. It made me discover so many fitting to my taste artists too that I never say, K-pop is mid, because I know that I can always find music that tells me that K-pop isn't mid. And also, this thought was mainly directed at the music part of K-pop, and not the companies or the albums or the fandoms or anything else about K-pop. The next thought is that, I saw this opinion, I don't like how ADP's Tarzan was let go with the racism allegations yet KIOF got literally cancelled. Question mark. Why are y'all still defending Tarzan? Stop making excuses for him, and I truly understand what this channel means with their opinion if people really are defending Tarzan, but when I read this, I thought, so this channel wants us to cancel Tarzan like we did Kiss of Life. And I was thinking about that because if the channel was actually thinking something along the lines of that, then it's not good. I mean yes, Tarzan is horrible for what he's doing, but K-pop stans shouldn't be led down the cancellation path, because when K-pop stans cancel, they become extremely toxic, hateful and turn into monsters. Do you see when an idol comes into a bullying scandal for example and K-pop stans waste no time in canceling them without knowing if the scandal is true or false because the scandal is too fresh to even know anything fully about the scandal yet other than the exposing. They end up becoming bullies themselves and become no better than the idol, if the K-pop idol's bullying does turn out to be true. They're not those types of people who are like, okay, this K-pop artist isn't a good person, I should stop supporting them and I should remove all their songs from my playlists, stop following them on socials and stop giving them a platform. K-pop stans love drama, toxicity, canceling people and spreading hate, even if the hate is for something so unnecessary, dumb and minuscule. Maybe the conclusion I came to was a reach, but if I interpreted the opinion this way, who knows, some toxic K-pop stan will see this as an, okay, let's go hate on Tarzan and become toxic, and then the toxic fans arrive and become monsters. We should be calling out Tarzan and more people should too, but it should be done by mature K-pop stans who are not here just for the drama. The next thought is that, a person said in their opinion in one part of the opinion that, K-pop is not even a genre in itself, but more so a mix of various genres, and I agree with the opinion fully.
When K-pop is not even a genre in itself. More so a mixture of various genres.
But if that's the case, then why are there K-pop stans think K-pop is different from Western pop, and also K-pop stans who think that, these songs are the K-popiest K-pop songs, where I saw a K-tuber make that video and add songs they see as the K-popiest K-pop songs, and other such things that make them believe K-pop is its own thing, but then others say, K-pop is not a genre. Why are there two different things said about K-pop? Because while I do agree that K-pop is a mix of genres and I do know that K-pop has lots of variety from rock to ballad to EDM to R&B to folk to rap etc., I don't understand however how it can be different from other countries even the West doing the same types of sounds. Maybe the interpretation of such genres could be different, but it's not like what K-pop does is something new and fresh that makes it different from Western music. And I'm just talking about the music here, nothing else that could make K-pop seem more different than other music, which then again another country could be doing that thing like K-pop in terms of their music or maybe even a non-music related industry too could be doing something K-pop does that y'all say separates them from others. I just don't get it. To me, I don't see what's different about K-pop compared to other music besides maybe the performance aspect, which again is not just K-pop when other music industries also dance and sing. K-pop is diverse, and in the end it's just different genres of music sung in Korean. Nothing else. There's no differentiation really in my eyes. The next thought is that, there are some K-pop companies who add too much of English when it comes to K-pop songs and when they debut a group, why call the group K-pop in the first place? Just debut them as a global group if you as a company debut them with more English possibly to appeal to Western audiences. Because their K-popness fades if the song has little to no Korean in the song and it just becomes regular pop if English takes up more than half of the lyrics. There's nothing about them having the label, K-pop, when only their company is K-pop and the songs mostly are English. If they're making side content on their YouTube channel, going on Korean shows and such and speaking in Korean all the time, then why don't they also have songs in Korean too? If they're trying to appeal to Western audiences and fans, then why not just drop the Korean and focus only on English? There's no need to only make the songs more English focused, but they should also make the group more English focused too. More Western interviews and less Korean shows. Side content in English too. Just change everything about the group to fully be English only and stop being K-pop. It's that simple. The next thought is that, do you know what I've noticed? K-pop stans always say, K-pop this month is mid, or, K-pop this year is mid, but they never do anything about it and when it comes to some of them ranking, reviewing songs of the month videos, they're always ranking the same group's newer songs where these same groups are the reason they think K-pop is mid. They never try to find K-pop songs that would actually make them see K-pop in a month or year better. If a K-pop artist is repeatedly disappointing you, why are you still checking them out only every time and then cry when K-pop isn't making enjoyable music for you? K-pop is not mid in a year or month because K-pop artists don't deliver good music, it's because you check out the same artists all the time, never expanding outside of them, and act like K-pop isn't great when you're looking at artists to get you disappointed. If an artist is for sure gonna disappoint you, then maybe you should stop listening to them instead of making monthly ranking review videos talking about how the song was bad, giving them more attention instead of finding a damn solution. Also, for K-pop to be mid to you in a year or month, as I've said before about y'all saying K-pop is mid, are y'all saying it with artist examples that y'all give based on that artist's whole discography? Or just the main tracks that get MVs? Because there's always a hidden gem in the B-sides that you might like, and if an artist is disappointing you but it's only their title tracks, check out more of their music instead of complaining. If y'all be complaining about K-pop being mid and it's mostly just what's popular and the two being known and promoted MV tracks, then are you really listening to K-pop for it to be mid to you in a year or month? If you're only checking out a select few songs of K-pop that are by the most known artists out there who will get people checking out their songs because the artist is massive, but you're not even checking out the album's B-sides or any other artists besides them, then you have no right to cry about K-pop being mid if you're doing it to yourself and crying online for attention. The next thought is that K-pop stans make video commentaries or talk in their unpopular K-pop opinions videos about how New Jeans ruined their careers, or about Tarzan cultural appropriating or Kiss of Life cultural appropriating for some examples, and multiple K-tubers have talked about it in videos. But if they truly think these idols and groups are wrong for what they did and don't like them for these things, why are they making these opinions on them, these videos on them and such? You're just giving them more of a platform and keeping them relevant by doing so. Truly caring would mean you would skip talking about them altogether, because unless you have anything new to say about controversies that are not just repeated takes on the controversies that many already are gonna say, is it worth it for you to also say it and be another K-tuber giving them a platform if you in your video are gonna talk negatively about said group, idol? Doesn't that feel a bit hypocritical because you're making a video commentary talking about a group idol's wrongdoings, talking about fan support for them despite this and people defending said group idol, while also you indirectly doing the same with the support by promoting them? Meaning that you talk about fans supporting the idol group despite their controversy, but you're also supporting the idol group in a way by talking about said idol group because any mention of the idol group keeps them relevant. I'm not opposed to talking about controversies, because you can. I'm just opposed when you guys talk about controversies to talk about controversies without providing any new talking points, leading you to do the opposite of what your video talks about with certain aspects. Basically, you talk about controversies but bring up no new talking points and say the same surface level thoughts on the topic that I can probably find on another channel, which makes you making the video on the controversy irrelevant since you're following the crowd of repeated thoughts. Also, another point I want to add about this, is that if you truly dislike what a group idol did in a controversy, then shut up, truly shut your mouth, because you don't have to talk about it. If for example it's an idol or group embroiled in a cultural appropriation scandal and you as a K-pop stan talk about it but then bring up the same talking points every time cultural appropriation happens, about how the idol group did wrong and that black people continue to be mocked and things about education, like for example if idol A and idol B are doing cultural appropriation, but you say the same exact things for both of them, not really giving us an insight to your thoughts but rather just repeating the same auto-generated response that would come about every time for a thing like cultural appropriation. Like, I understand that because it's true that the idol group did wrong and black people continue to be mocked in K-pop, but do you have nothing else to say other than bringing up the same few points over and over again, applying it to new artists who enter the cultural appropriation list? Because at the end of the day you're again still making them remain relevant by talking about them if this controversy made you dislike them, and that goes against the video or opinion that you make because you're promoting said group idol and also using that particular group idol's video footage in the background. It makes no sense to me. The next thought is that K-pop artists definitely know what's going on in Palestine, and I do agree on that, but you guys need to understand that while there have been a few to speak up about it like J Park, BM, Card, EI, J former Day 6, Jonghyun, Kevin, The Boys, Icon, as some of the ones that I know, most of the others do not speak about it, and I don't think that's bad at all. Yes, you can definitely criticize massive K-pop groups like BTS and Blackpink for not speaking out because of them being so massive and influential and having the freedom to do whatever, but for most idols in the industry they're under companies where they have to follow rules and cannot do whatever they please with risk of losing their careers. The idols are made to act and be a certain way, so them speaking out on world issues like Palestine would have to be their own selves doing so if they're allowed to. Idols also get hate and backlash for the most littlest things and for the most ridiculous things too. Palestine is not some small thing. It's a huge issue with a genocide being committed by Israel, and you can see in other countries with people being arrested and such for supporting Palestine. I know that's not relevant to idols and speaking out on Palestine, but Palestine is such a massive issue, and speaking out in support for Palestine may show fans that you're worth the continued support, but there might also be backlash. If you want to criticize idols for not speaking out, then that's on you, but you should also see this. To me, I don't see idols needing to be criticized for their silence because of them being under contract with K-pop companies that have a set of rules of what they can and cannot do, and I do not know what those rules are for me to see. I will only say that criticism of an idol is fine because of Palestine would be if an idol is buying from an Israel supportive brand, or if an idol or group does a brand deal with an Israeli supportive brand, only if it's groups idols who have the choice to say no and have such a freedom in decision making, and these brand deals are not by the companies which the idols groups have to follow through with. Also, I do know that we don't know them in the context of why they do so, and that we shouldn't just jump on them for this, but these are idols who are not in a position where their only choice is buying from an Israeli supportive brand because of certain reasons that may be valid as to why they do so for us to see that maybe we shouldn't cancel them. In the end, we may never know what idols think, simply because yes, it's not hard to know what's going on in Palestine because you'll come across a post on any social media of it even if you're not actively searching it up, but also these idols could say something in support for Palestine but may not say it because of the companies they're under and having to follow company rules and regulations. The next thought is that people talk about Blackpink thriving more as soloists than as a group, and K-pop stans even want them to disband too. And, I fully understand why y'all say so, but you guys should stop bringing up Blackpink in this context to say a point that is so obvious. Of course Blackpink shine as soloists now, because they've been a group for about 9 years, and recently is when all the members are fully immersing themselves in solo work, singing, acting etc. properly. This is actually a normal thing for groups who have stayed for so long as groups who look more better as soloists, and them as soloists they're showing more than they ever will as a group even when still making group songs because they haven't disbanded yet. Their group days are over if it visibly shows. Blackpink only thrive better as soloists because they probably seem to be done with Blackpink but don't want to give it up even if they should at this point with the music starting to become stale. Them as soloists work better because we saw the creative direction of certain songs and MVs with all the members that show that they can make good music as soloists, but as Blackpink it'll never happen because it feels like them coming back, especially with Jump despite the song actually being catchy, shows that they're just gonna be releasing the same formulaic sound over and over again which they've been doing for their titles since after DD Do, and also maybe 1 to 2 B-sides too. Their solo work shows more potential of them trying out different things and moving away from the Blackpink formulaic style of music and actually trying out new things that show what they're capable of, and it's honestly better because Blackpink releasing the same formulaic sound just feels repetitive instead of showing us that maybe Blackpink can do different things. I just hope that when they release a new album as a group, there's something that sounds not formulaic and is different. The next thought is that, IDK if I've shared this before, but just because someone is a good singer and can sing well and has trained enough to debut in a K-pop group, it doesn't mean the idol is good enough to debut, because the training flops and the talent ends up sucking if the idol doesn't fit the group's sound, if the songs are not fitting for the idol to sing, and if the idol suits more softer chill or slow songs rather than fast-paced energetic songs or powerful vocally charged songs. Having talent isn't equal to good enough to debut, if they're trained as a singer good enough. Because I've said it before that vocal coaching someone. The singer needs to be trained how the singer needs to be trained and not with what's the best method, so it's the same here where you can't just debut a good singer into a K-pop group when it's better to find someone more fitting to the sound of the group you as a company goes for, and keep this idol for a future fitting group or for a solo, or maybe even debut the idol in this group but make songs fitting to their style of singing and type of voice so their vocals shine. If the idol doesn't sound good as a singer despite having the talent, it may be because of the sound of the group and type of song and not because of the idol themselves. Plus, the idol could damage their vocals cords slowly, by singing in a way not natural to them, and they force their singing or strain their vocals. This is why different genres exist, because of singers with different voices to fit the different songs. It's not a, let's lump everyone into one box, type of situation, especially if the group has a lot of members. Are all of those members gonna sound good singing the group's music if all the members can sing decently in some way or another? The next thought is that, related to the vocals take I made before this, I wanted to say a new take on the same topic. K-pop companies training an idol that is talented fully doesn't automatically mean they're set to debut in a K-pop group that the company is planning to debut with that idol in it, because who knows that idol even will vocally carry the songs. Because if that idol debuts in the group that doesn't sound vocally fitting to the idol's vocals, the idol might get hated on by toxic stans for being talentless and be seen not as strong as the other members, or be seen as making the song boring with their part, and the idol in general being seen as a letdown for the group, but in actuality the member is just not fitting for the group and would work better in a group that utilizes the idol's vocal strengths and not bring them down to a weakness. The idol may be trained as a dancer and singer to be in a dance pop group and shows that they're good at it, but who knows they're actually good at it. Because training to be better at something to be fit to debut is not the same as being able to do it if the idol is maybe just a singer and not a dancer to begin with. Being vocally talented doesn't mean you can just debut anywhere with anyone if their vocal talent is on a different level with yours, even though both you and they can sing. Some people are just born to be performers, singers and dancers, and some are just born to be singers who don't dance. Different singers exist. The next thought is that, when K-pop stans say, K-pop is not hitting like it used to, what do they mean by that? Because when you listen to a type of music, no matter what the language, you listen to it because you like the music, right? So, when listening to that music industry, you listen to it and find songs fitting to your taste, but if you say that music is not hitting like it used to, what makes you think so? Because again, if you have a certain preference for certain sounds of a music industry, like K-pop, maybe preferences to softer, more acoustic or ballad sounds or mellow chill sounds, I don't think you'd find that industry not hitting anymore, if you're able to find songs suited to your tastes and preferences. If you do say this phrase, it could mean that you're saying this simply because you're looking at the wrong songs in K-pop when you like other types of songs you need to search for. Also, another thing is, if you do say K-pop isn't hitting like it used to, it could be that in the past the sounds that made you think K-pop is a hit were more prominent and in the open, and since you don't see it like that nowadays, you think K-pop doesn't hit much anymore, which to me is false in a way, because who knows, those sounds not seen much today are gone. Maybe they're there, but more amongst lesser-known tracks, B-sides, lesser-known artists, basically being amongst artists you'd have to dig for, because remember, K-pop changes with musical trends and sounds, and different sounds become popular each time, like how we had that retro trend in 2020. K-pop could still be hitting for you, you just have to see it properly first before just ruling it out as a fact, because also everyone's K-pop experiences are different. The sounds you say that make K-pop not hit for you anymore, or sounds that others might think make K-pop hit for them. Not everyone likes the same music, same songs, same everything, and we should remember that. The next thought is that, there's one thing I don't like about the 7-year contracts in K-pop relating to the group, their music and such. Because imagine having a 7-year contract as a group, but you have long hiatuses between comebacks, you don't make much side content besides that, and are not much active as a group besides a couple of posts on social media, which is still activity, but not fully active in other aspects. I know that Nugas cannot make songs easily due to budgeting issues. But they can still make side content like vlogs and challenges and stuff, and for K-pop groups as a whole, having a 7-year contract and not really showing us what they are as a group, how do we know what their musical sound is, directed mainly towards groups who have a budget and can make comebacks easily? How do we know what they are as a group without side content for fans who like it to watch, apart from some TikToks, Instagram Reels, etc. that are really short and show us nothing? What's the point of being a group within that contract if the group basically shows us nothing, or if anything at all? I'm not directing this take towards any groups since IDK who falls into this category, but it was just a thought that I had. If a group debuts and is in the 4th year of their promotion, for example, but all they have is about maybe 3 singles and one of them contains 2 B-sides alongside the single, those are 5 songs in total in 4 years, which shows us nothing of the group's sound if the 2 B-sides feel like forgettable tracks that fans won't remember existing, and the 3 singles include 1 baddie noise edgy song, 1 dance track and 1 summer-filled song which could maybe fall under something fun and cute. How do we know what their set sound or their go-to sound is yet? Basically, how do we know what their most done sound is yet, or a sound that makes you think, is this X group? Quote closing parenthesis dot. Should these groups have debuted at all if they're not promoting much as a group when they definitely can, because they're not some financially unstable group? What is the point of being a group when the group part is not explored fully? Like, okay, I wanna clear this up too here by saying that I do see a group as active if they're not making new songs, new content on YouTube and such, and just upload pictures, reels to Instagram and TikToks, and maybe are active performing live in other countries, or in universities, or doing some sort of live show that is not live stages like Inkigeo, Mnet, etc. But, for this take, I feel like these don't fully showcase a group to people, because again the live stages are them performing already released songs, that could be just a small few, and I also said that the reels TikToks they make are a few seconds long. So yeah, there's no point in groups that just feel like they exist to exist and don't give us anything, because K-pop already has been debuting too many groups since the beginning. The last thought is that, this thought is about other people and what they say and not what I think. I as a person don't believe someone can be the best at something, rather they can be one of the best considering someone in the past existed who can outshine the person considered the best, or even someone to come in the future to outshine this person considered the best. People say, X K-pop group is the best at X, like example, Red Velvet are the best vocalists, but if different K-pop stans end up bringing the same group into conversation for that same category as, X group is the best at X, is it true what they say? Because they might only be knowing X group for that X thing and might not know other groups also falling in the same category, which would make K-pop stans saying what they say invalid, considering if many of them bring up the same group it might be because the group is known and popular and so K-pop stans know them and only them, because of K-pop stans mostly knowing only popular groups and not because K-pop stans think the group actually is the best. K-pop stans may believe a group like Red Velvet is the best vocalist, and I have seen many K-pop stans say it, but knowing who is telling the truth and who just says it because of people seeing Red Velvet as a vocal group because of Red Velvet being popular enough to be noticed, is hard. And I do believe K-pop stans who call someone the best based on them being known and the K-pop stan knowing them mostly exist, because I saw 2 shorts with the title, K-pop groups who are unique, and both shorts mentioned KARD being unique for being co-ed, having both genders in the group, showing that the K-pop stan never did research and only put KARD because the K-pop stan knows KARD, completely dismissing co-ed groups existing before and after KARD. So yeah, we can't be so sure all K-pop stans know what they're talking about when they name certain groups as the best at something if those groups are the only groups they know for that certain category, and so they call them as best in such thing without actually knowing others or doing proper research to check the facts.